A very good morning, STA school students. So, in today's lecture, we are going to have the recall of the lesson, The Woman on Platform 8. So, this is the supplementary lesson from Unit 1, The Woman on Platform 8. So, it is written by Ruskin Bond. The author of the lesson is Ruskin Bond. So, before knowing about the lesson, let's have a small glimpse of the author. So, Ruskin Bond was born in 19th May 1934. So Ruskin Bond is a short story writer, novelist and a poet. He is the favorite writer of Indian children. So we all know Ruskin Bond. At least we have heard of his name, right? So he's a favorite writer of Indian children. His first novel, Room on the Roof, was published when he was still in his teen, which means when he was very young. This novel won him the John Rhyme Memorial Award in 1957. He also writes about children and the simple hill folk of Uttarakhand. Simplicity and fluency of language and an insight into human nature are hallmarks of his style. So, this is the style of how he writes. His major writing includes An Island of Tree, A Bond with the Mountains, and The India I Love. He has also been honored with the Satya Academy Award for his contribution to Indian literature. So this is something about Ruskin Bond. Now let's move to the recap of the Zoom class that we have had. Okay, so section 1. So now I'll just read and I'll brief you the content. It was my second year at boarding school and I was sitting on platform number 8 at Ambala station waiting for the northern bound train. I think I was about 12 at the time. My parents considered me old enough to travel alone. Okay, so here what is happening is boarding school is basically a school that you have to travel, a school that gives you food and room to stay, so not in your neighborhood basically. So those are called boarding schools, somewhere a bit far from the place where you stay. So it was my second year at boarding school. So and then he was sitting in the platform number 8 at Ambala station. So platform number 8 at Ambala station. This might come for objective, so please make a note of it. Waiting for the northern bound train. So northern bound train. Bound basically means a fast moving train, a moving train. I think I was about 12 at the time. So he was 12 years old at the time. My parents considered me old enough to travel alone and I had arrived by bus at Ambala early in the evening. Now there was a wait till midnight before my train arrived. So here what is happening is his parents think that he's old enough to travel on his own. So the parents haven't accompanied him and he's all alone there. And he has come to the station, Ambala station, by train early evening. And then here he mentions that his train is in the midnight. So he has to wait. So let's see. Most of the time I had been pacing up and down the platform. So pacing means walking. So most of the time I had been pacing up and down the platform. So as he has come early to the station, he has been walking here and there. Browsing at the bookstore. So looking into the bookstore. Or feeding broken biscuits to the stray dogs. So stray dogs is basically dogs that we don't adopt and stray dogs basically. So feeding broken biscuits to the stray dogs. Train came and went and the platform would be quiet for a while, and then when train arrived it would be an inferno of heaving, shouting, agitated human bodies. So basically we all have might have encountered this scene. So when we usually travel in the train, when in the early mornings or in the late evenings, this happens. Like a lot of working people travel at that time, so there is this huge crowd. So the train infernos basically refer to hell, another name of hell you could say. He says the crowd in the train looks similar to the inferno of heaving and shouting and agitated human bodies. So agitated is angry or nervous. So he says it's that chaotic. As the carriage door opens, a tide of people would sweep up sweep down upon the nervous little ticket collector at the gate. So when the door opens, when the train stops, and when people can get down, so they basically, like, a tide is you have seen the tide in the sea, right? The seashore. So that is how the people in the train, they get down. So they basically, like, they sweep down upon the nervous little ticket collector. So there is this ticket collector waiting to check if the passengers have their tickets. So all the people getting down from the train, they basically sweep down upon the nervous little ticket collector. Every time this happens, I would be caught in the rush and swept outside the station. So every time this happens, this poor little kid has been caught into that chaos. Now, tired of this game and of ambling about the platform, I sat down on my suitcase and gazed dismally across the railway track. So he's got tired and he has sat in his suitcase. So he started gazing. Gazing is basically just looking. Blank stare, you could say. Trolleys rolled past me, and I was conscious of the cries of the various vendors, the men who sold curds and lemons, sweetmeats, sellers, the newspaper boy. But I had lost interest in all that went on along the busy platform and continued to stare across the railway tracks, feeling bored and a little lonely. So we all might have also encountered this scene. So when we are in the platform, there's a lot of vendors passing by. There are these people who carry the suitcase luggages. So there are also people who sell all these peanuts, and so here it says curds and lemons and sweet meat. It is a fruit kind of thing. So he has been seeing all those things, and he has also got tired, and he is starting to feel a little lonely. So here are the meanings for the hard words. So boarding means home, room and meal. Bound is run, arrive, come, pacing, walk, browse, look, agitated, nervous, tide, group. Ambling, move slowly. Inferno, region that resembles hell. Heaving, to raise or to lift with force. Dismally is cheerless, which is unhappy. Okay. I was going to refuse out of... Are you all alone, my son? Asked a soft voice close behind me. I looked up and saw a woman standing near me. She was leaning over, and I saw a pale face, dark kind eyes. She wore no jewels and was dressed with a very, very simple and white sari. So here, suddenly, someone comes behind him and asks, "Are you lonely, my son?" And the guy looks up at the woman standing near him, and how does she appear to him? She's pale. Pale is whitish pink. So basically, I saw a pale face, dark kind eyes. So she was a very kind woman. He seems to judge her as a very kind person. She didn't wear any jewels, and she was dressed in a very simple white sari. "Yes, I'm going to school," I said, and stood up respectfully. So as she's an elderly woman, so he's standing up respectfully. She seemed poor, but there was a dignity about her that commanded respect. Though she was very simple and she seemed poor, but he says that there was something about her that made him give respect to her, that commanded respect. Dignity is also respect. "I had been watching you for some time," she said. "Didn't your parents come to see you off?" So see you off is send you off, basically to say hi. Bye. "I don't live here," I said. I had to change train anyway. I can travel alone." So the boy gives a very casual response. "I don't live here anyway, and I have to change, so I travel alone. That's not a big deal. I'm 12." So he kind of responds like that. "I'm sure you can," she says. So the lady responds that, "I am sure you can," she said. And I liked her for saying that, and I also liked her for the simplicity of her dress and for her deep soft voice and the serenity of her face. So serenity is reverence, respect again. So he likes her in the first look. "Tell me, what is your name?" she asked. "Arun," I said. "And how long do you have to wait for your train?" About an hour, I think. It comes at 12 o'clock. Then come with me and have something to eat." And now she's asking his name, and then she's asking at what time does your train arrive, and then he says it's at 12, and then it's 1 hour left for the train to come, and then she's politely calling Arun to come to have food with her. I was going to refuse out of shyness and suspicion. So shyness is being reserved. We all feel shy when someone strange comes and talk. Okay, there are a lot of instances we feel shy when parents talk about us and all in front of people. We feel shy. Okay, and suspicion is guessing. Suspicion, basically something mysterious. I was going to refuse out of shyness and suspicion, but she took me by the hand, and then I felt it would be silly to pull my hand away. So she took a hold of his hand, and then he felt it would be silly to just pull his hand off from the lady. She told a coolie to look after my suitcase, and then she led me away down the platform. Her hand was gentle, and she held mine neither too firm nor too lightly. I looked up at her, and she was not young and she was not old. She must have been over 30, but she been 50. I think she would have looked much the same. So here, the lady says a coolie to take care of a suitcase, and he starts looking at her. He thinks that she looks young, but she might be around 50. And then she took me into the station dining room, ordered tea and samosa and jalebis. So this might also come for your objective, so make a note. So she takes him into the dining room and she orders tea, samosa and jalebis, and at once I began to thaw. So thaw is soften. So he kind of is suspicious and shy. So after she orders food, he kind of softens, and taken a new interest in this kind woman. So he's starting to like the new woman. The strange encounter had little effect on my appetite. So strange encounter. So the new encounter is basically meeting. So the new meeting had little effect on my appetite. Appetite is hunger. I was hungry, schoolboy, and I ate as much as I could in a polite manner as possible. She took obvious pleasure in watching me eat. So she's a very kind woman, we can see from this. I think it would be the food that strengthened the bond between us and cemented our friendship. So he thinks that it is because of the food that our bonds have become close, and cemented our friendship. So made our friendship stronger. For under the influence of the tea and sweet, I began to talk quite freely. So after having the food and after sharing a bond, he starts to talk quite freely, and told her about my school, my friends, my likes and dislikes. She questioned me quietly from time to time, but preferred listening. So she's also listening. She also questioned here and there, but she liked listening more. And then he started talking freely. She drew me out very well, and I had soon forgotten that we were strangers. But she did not ask me about my family or where I lived, and I did not ask her where she lived. I accepted her for what she had been to me, and quite kind and gentle woman who gave sweets to a lonely boy on a railway platform. So both of them have accepted each other and started liking each other, and they are not questioning each other about their personal questions like where they come from or about the family. They're just having a very casual talk, but they have a quite strong bond between them. And then after about half an hour, we left the dining room and began walking back along the platform. An engine was shunting up and down beside platform 8, and as it approached, a boy leaped off the platform and ran across the rails, taking a shortcut into the next platform. So we know that a lot of people, they don't take the bridge to cross the platform. They just jump into the platform and start walking. That's a very risky thing, and we should never do that. So here is such scene that is taking place. Leapt off the platform and ran across the rails, taking a shortcut into the next platform. He was at a safe distance from the engine, and there was no danger unless he had fallen. But as he leapt across the rails, the woman clutched my hands, her finger dug into my flesh, and I winced with pain. I caught her finger and looked up at her, and I saw a spasm of pain and fear and sadness pass across her face. She watched the boy as he climbed the other platform, and it was not until he had disappeared in the crowd and that she relaxed her hold on my arms. She smiled at me, reassuring, and took my hand again, but my finger trembled against mine. So here there's this boy who's just crossing, and then this woman, she's getting scared and she's holding the boy's hand very firmly. Her nails are literally um, held very firm in the little boy's hands. It even gives him pain in his hands. And then the boy who's crossing the platform, he is in a safe distance, but something might go wrong if he falls in the railway track. So we should never take advantage of the situation. We should never cross a railway track. We cannot assume what might go wrong, so never do that. So here, and then the boy climbs off, and then he merges with a crowd of people, and that is when the lady is relieved. I was all right, I said, feeling that it was she who needed reassurance. She smiled gratefully at me and pressed my hand. We walked together in silence until we reached the place where I had left my suitcase. One of my school fellows, Satish, a boy of my age, had turned up with his mother. So they're going back to the platform number 8, and then for sudden surprise they see a school fellow of his, Satish, a boy of his age, has turned up to the platform with his mother. Okay, section 2. Hello Arjun, he called. The train coming in late as usual. Did you know we have a new headmaster this year? He shook hands and then he turned to his mother and said, This is Arjun, mother. He is one of my friend and the best bowler in class. I'm glad to know that, said his mother, a large imposing woman who wore spectacles. She looked at the woman who led my hand and said, And I suppose you're Arjun's mother. So here they are introducing themselves. Satish says Arjun is a good bowler, and then they're talking about the new teacher they are having. And then Arjun's mother is wearing a spectacle, that is glasses. And then Satish mother is asking the lady if she is Arjun's mother. I opened my mouth to make explanation, but before I could say anything, the woman replied, Yes, I'm Arjun's mother. So the strange lady, she says that she claims herself to be Arjun's mother. I was unable to speak a word. I looked quietly at the woman, but she did not appear to be at all embarrassed and was smiling at Satish's mother. Satish's mother said, It was a nuisance having to wait for the train right in the middle of night, but one can't let the child wait here alone. Anything can happen to a boy at a big station like this. There are so many suspicious characters hanging about. These days, one has to be very careful at strangers. So the Satish mother starts to talk about how a mother cannot leave a child all alone, and what might go wrong and things like that. Arjun can travel alone though, said the woman beside me. So the strange lady says Arjun can travel alone though, and somehow I felt grateful to her for saying that. I had already forgiven her for lying, and besides, I had taken a instinctive dislike to Satish's mother. So here Arjun has a instinctive, that is a repulsive, immediate dislike to Satish's mother. Well, be very careful, Arjun, said Satish's mother, looking sternly at me through her spectacles. Be very careful when your mother is not with you and never talk to strangers. I looked from Satish's mother to the woman who had given me tea and sweets, and then back to Satish's mother. I like strangers, I said. Satish's mother definitely strangled a little, and obviously she was not used to being contradicted by small boys. There you are, you see, if you don't watch over them all the time, they'll walk straight into trouble. Always listen to what your mother tells you, she said, wagging a fat little finger at me, and never talk to strangers. So here, the Satish mother is not playing a very good role according to Arjun. So she's been warning him about strangers, but he, on the other hand, is been treated very well by a stranger. So he is like looking to the stranger and to the Satish mother, and he's not liking Satish mother, but he likes the stranger on the other side. I gladly resentfully I glared resentfully at her and moved closer to the woman who had befriended me. Satish was standing behind his mother, grinning at me and delighted in my clash with his mother. Apparently, he was on my side. So Satish is also on Arjun's side. So same age basically. So they always stand for each other, right? The station bell clanged, and the people who had till now been squatting resignedly on the platform began hustling about. So the bell rang, and the train might come. Here it comes, shouted Satish, as the engine whistle shrinked on the front light played on over the rails. The train moved slowly into the station, the engines hissing and sending out waves of steam. As it came to stop, Satish jumped on the footboard of a lighted compartment and shouted, "Come on, Arjun, this one's empty." I picked up my suitcase and made a dash for the open door. We paced ourselves at the open windows, and the two men stood outside on the platform taking up to us. Satish's mother did most of the talking. Do not No, don't jump on or off moving trains. Okay, this is an advice, so never do that too. Don't jump on and off moving trains as you did just now, she said. And don't stick your heads out of the window. Don't eat any rubbish on the way. She allowed me to share the benefit of her advice, as she probably didn't think my mother a very capable person. She handed Satish a bag full of fruit, a cricket bat, a big box of chocolate. So here, what and all she's giving? She's giving him a bag of fruits, cricket bat, and a big box of chocolate, and told him to share the food with me. That is to Arjun. Then, share the food with Arjun. Then she stood back from the window to watch how my mother behaved. So this lady, Satish mother, is not doing all these things in a very good intention. She basically wants to make Arjun's so-called mother, feel jealous. I was smarting under the patronizing tone. Patronizing is basically treating in a way, like in a very kind manner. Okay, patronizing tone of Satish mother, who obviously thought mine a very poor family, and I did not intend giving the other woman away. I let her take my hand in hers, but I could think of nothing to say. I was conscious of Satish's mother staring at us with hard, beardy eyes, and I found myself hating her with firm, reasoning hate. The guard walked up the platform, blowing his whistle for the train to leave. I looked straight into the eyes of the woman who held my hands, and she smiled in a gentle, understanding way. I leaned out of the window, then I put my lips to her cheeks and kissed her. So here basically, Satish's mother is doing all things to make him jealous, both of them jealous. But here, and then the guard comes, and then he blows the whistle for the train to leave. And then Arjun, he looks straight into the eyes of the woman, and into the strange woman, and then she smiled in a very gentle, understanding way, and then he leans out, puts his lips to her cheeks, and kissed her. The carriage jolted forward and she drew her hand away. So as the carriage moved forward, uh, and then she takes off her hand. "Goodbye, mother," said Satish as the train began to move slowly out of the station. Satish and his mother waved to each other. "Goodbye," I said to the other woman. "Goodbye, mother." I didn't wave or shout, but sat still in front of the window, gazing at the woman on the platform. Satish's mother was taking talking to her, but she didn't appear to be listening. She was looking at me as the train took me away. She stood there on the busy platform, a pale, sweet woman in white, and I watched her until she was lost in the milling crowd. So here, and then like they're saying goodbye as the train starts moving, and then Satish mother seems to be talking to the strange woman, but the strange woman, the so-called mother of Arjun, she is not caring about the talks and all. She's not lending ears to the Satish mother, but she is staring at Arjun. So there's this something in between Arjun and the strange woman, some emotional connection. They have grown a very strong feeling between themselves. So she's gazing at Satish, gazing at Arjun as the train is moving forward. As he's going to the boarding school and he might not come, so this is a obvious strange woman. So they might not meet another time. So this is a like one last bye. So she is taking her moment. So this is the story. I hope you all understood, and it's a very deep emotional story too. So okay, so again it's about the author and the end of your textbook. You can give it a glance. Now to the question answers. Okay, so here are the question answers which you have to copy it in your classwork note. Let me pause each question and answer so you can take a screenshot, and or you can just pause the video and you can write it down. Okay, class. So that is all it for the day. I hope you enjoyed and thank you.